Alright, this is Josh here from InsideWrestlingTruth, and my guest today is Aidan Blackhart. Most people from the Kentuckiana area know who he is. Thanks for coming on and doing this interview with me, man.
Not a problem at all. It's an honor.
First off, let's get this thing going. Just tell me your earliest memories of wrestling.
My earliest memories of wrestling probably would be when I was about, I want to say 9 or 10. It pretty much starts like everyone else's. We were flipping through the channel and my stepdad stopped on Raw, and I started watching. It was a promo with Bret Hart is my earliest memory of sitting down watching it. He was doing the anti-America,
Right.
Canada's better angle at the time. Right in the middle of the Attitude Era, I'd say. So that's really when I started watching it and became a fan.
Is that what made you want to be a wrestler? Or
Yes. That, and I went to my county fair and BBW came through of all places, and I remember watching Simon Says and J.C. Bailey. They were at the time real young, doing everything they could to get in the ring, and they did a big table bump at the end of it. And I remember just running up and down this little fence area, because where it was like there's a fence, and then the ring was out on the racetrack, and they'd come down the racetrack and get in the ring, and I'm running up and down the fence going off. It was a lot of fun.
So how did you get in the business? Who trained you, etc.?
Well, from about age 11 up until 18, me and all my friends backyard wrestled. As much as I hate to admit it, at the time, all the commercials had the best of backyard wrestling DVDs. We'd rent them from the movie stores, take them home and watch them, and then that progressed from seeing all these kids doing it to when J.C. Bailey was on the best of backyard wrestling videos. And it's like, oh, hey, I know that guy. He's a backyard wrestler. I've seen him pro.
Right.
And let's see Pondo on there, Necro Butcher, old IWA stuff on the best of backyard wrestling DVDs. And I remember me and my friend Corey rented one night, and as soon as it was over, we ran out and we're throwing each other into the swing sets and all this other stuff. And it was probably terrible to watch if you're a wrestling fan. We were kids, not knowing a damn thing. And as much as I hate to say that's where I started doing this, it sucks, but at the same time, that's really what piqued my interest in getting into wrestling down the road. Down the road, fast forward all these years, we met a few people that were involved in pro wrestling through backyard wrestling. We eventually started getting in an actual ring instead of a trampoline.
Right.
We used to set 3 trampolines up and do a tombstone from one trampoline to the other, and then jump up and do a flip afterwards. Made no sense at all. But some pro guys would come in and say, hey, you guys look like you like what you're doing. I know this place I could get you in at, and this place. And Shane Mercer and Corey Havoc, you could call him, that's what he wrestled as, they got their Kentucky license. I went to a show with them. A guy named Big Gun comes out. Told him I wanted to be a wrestler. He said, oh, just apply for your license at this website. You can get right in for free. That's how you do it. And not knowing any better, I did that. That's what I was told how to get into the wrestling business was just go get your Kentucky license. That's all you got to do.
Professionally, who are some guys that you started with that are in the indie circuit right now?
Started definitely with Shane Mercer. We and him grew up the next street from each other. We're not like super tight, close friends, but I know if I needed anything, I could call him. We've known each other forever. They brought me along to what was TVW at the time, Thunder Valley Wrestling down in Glensboro, Kentucky.
Okay.
Way down the road from Lawrenceburg. It's pretty much the same road that Wildcat's on. Started wrestling professionally there, and then guys like Max Misery, Raziel, Todd Morton, and a couple guys pull me aside. Hey, slow down. Do things this way.
Right.
Do things this way. You're not doing this. You should. Things like that.
Let's talk about companies. What's been some of your favorite companies to work for?
Early career, I'd have to say World Wrestling Cartel was a lot of fun. We were all the young guys were kind of grouped together, and we were out there doing what we thought was awesome, because a lot of young wrestlers go out there and do all the moves they think's cool. Don't worry about telling the story and the other aspects of it. I had a lot of fun then because I didn't have reins, but at the same time, knowing what I know now, I wish I did. some of the earlier feds, TDW was fun to break into. A lot of the guys were really cool. Tornado Wrestling Organization down around Elizabethtown, they were really fun to work with. That's early career. Fast forward till now, I'd say my favorite has to be IWA Mid-South. That's probably the best locker room environment, in-ring environment, and learning environment for me. I love everything doing there. CCW, when Jimmy was running, I've never worked for any of the other incarnations of CCW. I had a lot of fun in the Evansville building.
Yeah.
D1W was fun for a little while. Once it fell apart at the end, it wasn't very fun. And at the beginning, it was a lot of high pressure. All these guys are leaving for IWA, and everyone wanted to do better than IWA. So it was a lot of get in there and do the best, get in there and do your best, kind of. It wasn't not fun. It was just a lot of pressure at the beginning. Really fun feds. IWA, CCW, D1W was alright for a while. I have fun just about everywhere I go, though.
We'll get into more companies here in a little bit. It's just, now I watched you wrestle a little bit everywhere, and you always have a nice bump.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite bumps, man? Off the ladder from the Coliseum was a good one.
That was a lot of fun.
There's been several.
I'd say one of my favorites was a package pile driver off the stage through a big pile of chairs. That was a lot of fun. Early when I got back into wrestling, because I had a little hiatus for a while, I was, I'm going to go in there and be the bump guy. I know I can't out-wrestle this dude. I can't out-high-fly this dude. And I was thinking about it just in the ring, not worrying about a character so much. So, okay, I'm going to go in there and bump my ass off. I want to do something stupid on the concrete. I want to get slammed on the hardwood floor, go through this table. Table bumps are always fun. I like that sound when someone does something crazy. It doesn't have to specifically be me, because I enjoy watching it, but when the crowd goes for a second, is he gonna stand back up?
Right.
You feel what's going through their head at that moment. That's a lot of fun. That's why I like doing some crazy bumps. I've kind of backed away from doing it every time, because if you do it every match, you have to either keep going up or it becomes that same thing, and they eventually stop caring.
Do you ever, what's been your worst injury from a bump?
I would say, as far as long-lasting injury, in Wildcat, Shane Mercer gorilla pressed me into this pole. And I had a thing, I don't know why, but every time I was wrestling Wildcat, I would bump into that pole that was right next to the ring. But he throws me out of the ring, gorilla press style, into the thing, and I broke my ring finger and can't put my hand back together. If you can see it, I don't know if you can see it good on camera, but I have a separation now in my fingers, and then my right shoulder has been nagging me ever since, as far as being a long-lasting injury. One time in the backyard, though, being the dumbass that I was, I made a table out of 2 sawhorses and a door. Wrapped my friend in it and barbed wire, put him on top of that door, climb up on the roof and do a big frog splash through it. Us being dumbasses, and this is why you don't backyard wrestle, the door knob was off, but the little guts of the inside of the knob were still sticking out, and it ripped a gash about this big into the side of my leg and about that deep. Too, and I could look down and see all my layers of skin, my fat, and it would just pull up with blood. I had to get about 15 stitches internally, and then about 20 surface stitches. That would probably be my worst injury.
Right.
But that doesn't really count, because I was 14 at the time.
Now, out of all the different companies that you worked for, who are some of your favorite people to work with? Or against, however you want to say it.
Shane Mercer was always fun. We've wrestled from beginning till now. Not just because we're friends, but his drive and attitude towards the business. I haven't really met very many people like him. No matter what, he wants to do better. He wants to be the best match on the card. He wants to push you. And he also thinks, how can he push me
to make you better?
To make me better.
Right.
And show off himself and
Exactly.
get his things in too. What would be cool if my move could get mixed in with his move? His imagination, you can just see it click in his brain sometimes. Lee Byford, we had a triple threat match in the Coliseum. It was the only time I faced him, but we had so much fun during that match, and it felt like we just instantly gelled. We didn't have to go over everything. We just talked about what we like to do, and it went on from there. Really fun people. A lot of times I have fun facing the big fat guy that can't work at the show. I don't want to say a name specifically, because there's been a few ever since I did the Body by Blackheart gimmick. They put me in there with a fat guy. I'm trying to make him work out, and then he throws me around.
Yeah.
A lot of times I like the challenge of making the crowd get into him, even though they know his matches aren't great. The locker room knows his matches aren't great. I try to bring a character out of them, do something to make people care about about the guy in the ring. So when they do bump me and do pin me, it's a little bit of a payoff. If I just go out there and kick their ass and try to make them look stupid the whole time, when they pin me, it's just
that's
whatever.
totally right. You talked about working for D1W. How did you get your start at D1?
Like I think I mentioned it earlier, I had a little hiatus from wrestling. I really got into music, got into having kids. It's not like I had a demons, did drugs all the time story. I just was doing other things, trying to have the family life going on, and started going to shows with Shane just to watch it. He came up to me and he's like, do you want what you've already done to be the end of it? You know, you're in your mid-20s, you need to kind of either get back into it, pull that trigger, or go on.
Exactly.
And I was like, you know what, I'm going to pull this trigger, start wrestling again. I got my Kentucky license, did a few PWF shows, did a few SWE shows, and Shane introduced me to Rick Brady and Ron Aslan at D1W. Bugged him on the internet for about a month or so, and he gave me a shot. This was their last show. I don't know how many they did, but they did the Colgate. It's kind of, I'm surprised he booked me after this, because I'm in the back and we're sitting there like stretching out, and you know how people will like kind of put their foot up against the wall, sort of kick it. And I heard a story that low-key would just kick brick walls and punch them before his matches. So I looked at Mercer and I said, hey, look, I'm low-key. Put my foot through the fucking wall on accident. And to this day, there's a hole about this big in Colgate right as soon as you walk through to the locker room. So I do all that, and this is right when IWA announced they were coming back. Ian's using these guys, and you could kind of feel in the locker room some of the dudes were about to leave. There was the what's going to happen here. So I do all that stupid shit. It's such a probably for the promoters of D1 at that night, a lot going on, and I'm surprised he even brought me back. But lo and behold, he did. He's like, you know what, I ain't even worried about what they charged me for the whole, let's keep working. And really, it was kind of a good moment for me, because a lot of the main event guys moved over. Some of the referees moved over. I'm going to come in and prove that I'm loyal to not just the wrestling business, but the guys that are using their time to book me. We did a few shows for them, and I was just kind of doing the I'm a wrestler gimmick. Didn't have a gimmick really, just going out there wrestling, trying to do a crazy bump, get attention that way. And Ron came up with the idea. It was originally Body by Aidan. I was like, Body by Blackheart rolls off the tongue, but let's go with that. And we were coming up with ideas, and we were talking about, I was originally gonna, I'm better than this guy for this reason, I'm better than this. Then we came up with the shake weight gimmick, and it's just kind of fast forwarded through, became its own thing ever since then. It kind of kept me at mid-card level though, because I was just being goofy, not doing the more violent things that I'm a fan of.
Now, did you leave there after Rick stopped running? Did you stay there the whole time, or did you?
I stayed there until Rick stopped running. Then Richie and Pondo were booking and promoting and doing production house wrestling with using Rick's ring. Here's a loyalty story for you. Rick comes up to production house wrestling, and they had words over something. I don't know the whole deal between them. No, it was Rick's trailer was gone. He had his ring in his trailer there, comes back, hey, I want to get my ring, the trailer's gone. They had a big falling out over that. And trailers aren't cheap either, I don't blame them. And all they had, and their only excuse was, oh, I don't know. I'm sorry your shit got stole. But Rick's calling up, he called the cops to do a small claims thing and called up one of his friends to get a trailer over there so he can get his ring. And I stuck around and helped him get his ring in the trailer. Even though I could have just been like, fuck it, I'm going home.
Did you have a favorite match in D1 or memory?
Me and DJ Hyde was actually really fun. It was my first match there with someone that really wanted to go with that strong style that I like. That was probably my biggest match there against a name. I faced Big Dusty a lot. He's a cool dude, but he just is what he is. And he'll admit he just does the matches here and there just to entertain himself. He doesn't want to do more with it.
Okay.
Me and John Tate Keith was a lot of fun.
Okay.
I really like getting in there with a high flyer, and he wanted to get that job there, so we just went in there and went balls to the wall the whole time. That was a lot of fun.
All right, let's talk CCW. How'd you get your start up at CCW?
Just rode along with my friends up there to see what it was all about. I always wanted to check out the Coliseum, and Jimmy was like, hey, we got an open spot. You want to face Mickey Knuckles?
Right.
It's like, all right, put my shit on, and I went in there and wrestled her, kept coming back, and then he put me in a hardcore match against Max Misery, who was a real good friend of mine, and he's like, and Max didn't want to just job me out. He's like, hey, I want to go in there and prove that you deserve a job here.
Right.
We had a really fun match. He was doing the anti-hardcore champion.
Yeah, I remember that. That was awesome.
He was too hard. He was the best hardcore champion ever, but you never saw him get hit with anything. I had 2 matches against him, and then Jimmy booked me for the J.C. Bailey Cup, and I can't remember match per match up until then, up to the Cup, but we started working towards that and having it was a lot of fun. I loved the building, the ring. It was my first 6-sided ring, the entrance going to it, all that.
Exactly.
The whole environment was really
I
good.
love that ladder match, man, for real.
Thank you.
It was awesome. So did you leave CCW when Jimmy and them left?
Yes.
Okay.
I took a few months off. I had my baby daughter the beginning of 2015. Just took a little bit of time off to do that, kind of settle things at home, because having a kid's a big thing.
Exactly, I know.
And I was like, hey, I'm gonna take a month or 2 off and then come back. By the time I started coming back, it all fell apart on its own. I was never there for any of the falling apart of Jimmy's version of CCW. Sucks that it happened though.
Okay, let's talk IWA.
IWA. I actually did a few tryout shows back in the day with Corey and Shane. Obviously didn't get the job then and there, but we all needed more time.
Right.
None of us did, but I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot at those tryout shows. A quick story, this is one thing that kind of opened my eyes as to what the wrestling business is. We had everything set up. DJ starts getting the PA going, and that song, Every Day I'm Hustling, comes on. And Ian had just collected all the money for the people wanting to try out, and he's counting it, but singing along to the song at the same time. Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, and this isn't anything bad on Ian, but wrestling is a hustle, and that just kind of made me think about it like that. Wrestling is a hustle, and that was a really cool story. A lot of people, I think, would take that the wrong way. Oh, that motherfucker just hustled me. Fuck him. No. We wanted that tryout. We knew it cost money. We wanted a job there. But I took the lesson in that particular moment as wrestling's a hustle. You got to get your hustle on if you're going to do anything. Exactly. And you can take that 100 different ways. Everyone's got their own hustle, but that's a learning thing from there. When I started wrestling for IWA, D1W had fallen apart. All I really had going on was UWA, and I wasn't really happy there. I knew it wasn't going to make me better. I don't think I'm great by any means, but I want to learn. I want to guys that I look up to and want to consider my peers. So I took the UWA booking just to have something to do, and then I was like, you know what? I've been dancing on hitting it up for a while. I want to wrestle for them. I've got a couple friends there. Why not try it while the time's right? Shot him a message, and he said, hey, I'll give you a shot. Really, it's a story of trying to come in there, pay your dues the right way, prove that you're there to work, because I would always make sure I'm tearing the ring down. Always. I did one tryout. I did a match. It wasn't a tryout match, but I did a match for him, and then the next week was King of the Death. And I was like, hey, I'm not booked that day. I'd like to come and help out, clean up, check the show out. I've always loved King of Death matches. And came there, helped tear down the ropes for the barbed wire matches, sweep the insane amount of light bulb tubes out of the ring, and help clean up, tear down, do all that work for them. And I think that's one of the reasons he said, okay, let's start using Aidan Blackhart and let him come in and see if he's worth a shot.
Now, you were working with Ian's son, JC, at the last show that IWA show I went to.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on him? He's kind of making a name for himself, too.
I think he has the best opportunity being at his age. He's got his dad to learn from, the whole IWA locker room.
Right.
I think he's in a position to be very, very good. It's really what he does with it. He's young, and this isn't a knock on him. He's got a lot that can be on his plate if he takes it. Personally, I think he should step back from the death matches too much, for a little bit. Mostly because he's Ian Rotten's son. Can you think of very many people that's taken the crazy shit Ian Rotten has?
Yeah, no shit.
I think that would be expected of him, and I don't want to see him destroy his body at such a young age.
Yeah.
I love death matches. I want to do more of them, but some of these older death match guys, some of them can't walk, so they've got god awful scars, this, that, and the other. I don't think he should do too much of that too soon.
Last IWA question. A lot of people have different opinions and mixed emotions about Ian Rotten. How was your experience working for Ian?
Nothing but respect. I've heard that he's not the same Ian Rotten he used to be.
Right, I've heard that too.
He said it himself that he used to be a mean motherfucker. To be completely honest, he pays me more than just about any of the feds in southern Indiana. I feel like he uses me right, and he kind of opened my eyes on how you build a heel. Just about everyone else would have me come out as a heel, get heat, and then always be getting beat. I didn't see myself as a threat in the fans' eyes at other places because you always knew that they'd get the better. I didn't have not that wins and losses matter. I don't care to put a person over, but you got to build something to make it a threat. Ian really looked at me, looked at my body. I was using a different finisher, and he said, "Let's do the thunder thighs thing. You got big, huge, fat, jiggly legs. Start choking people out with them." Honestly, I love it. He pays me more than anybody. He books really, really, really well. Gave me great advice, tells great stories. I mean, he's a human being, but other than that, I can't. He's not done anything to rub me the wrong way or not. I have nothing but respect for him.
Bloodiest match you've been in?
That I've been in, I would probably say the barbed wire bat match against JC. I told him I wanted him to give me the execution style barbed wire bat shots. I don't put my hands up straight to the top of the head. It wasn't I didn't have a full crimson mask or anything. I haven't been there to that point.
Yeah.
Most of my career has been in Kentucky, so getting blood hasn't really been much of an option until 2013. And depending on where I'm working at, they don't want that. In Evansville, I went to get color in the J.C. Bailey match, and then the blade slid out of my hand, and I didn't want to be palming around for it. I couldn't see it that good, and from where I was sweating so bad, it just kind of all went away.
Yeah.
But I'd say the most blood I got was against J.C. in that barbed wire bat match.
What about stiffest opponent?
That's That's a hard question. It really depends. Like Cash Flow's chops, they're pretty rough. They sting really fucking bad. Jerry Gay's chop. I can't talk. Gary J. Sorry.
It's all right.
I can't get words out sometimes. Gary J's chops have more of a thud and they hurt, but him and Cash's have the same sound.
Yeah.
Larry D's pretty stiff. Shane is always stiff. It's kind of hard to really say stiffest, though. They all have their thing that's really stiff, but not everything about them is really stiff. Usually the guys that do everything rough are the younger guys that kind of suck, that think they have to hit you as hard as they possibly can because you're wanting to do strong style things. But
Right.
it's really a toss-up depending on what move you ask in question.
Let's talk shaker weight.
The shake weight. That was I kind of touched on it earlier. We were discussing the Body by Blackheart gimmick, and we said a shake weight would just be the funniest shit.
Yeah,
It's been a while since they were all over TV and stuff, and it's got a nostalgic like, really does he think that shake weight's doing anything for him? But a lot of times when I come out, I say, this is the true power of Body by Blackheart, and then I knock him out with a 10-pound weight to the face. So that's kind of the thing behind the shake weight. I've been through several of them because once they roll out of the ring and hit the concrete or the hardwood floors, they're usually done with.
So that was your idea for the shaker weight, or somebody just?
I think, honestly, we were talking about different things to use, and Big Dusty Lee, said, hey, what about a shake weight? And we were all just like, that's awesome.
What about most heat?
Most heat, locker room heat or fan heat?
We'll do fan.
For World Wrestling Cartel down in Danville, Kentucky, way back in the day, I don't think a lot of people are going to remember them, but I was in a faction called 3 Feet Under. It was 3 of us, and we beat you halfway to the grave. And we would always come out for all of each other every match. Like, we'd each have a different match. We'd all 3 come out and get heat. Go on. The fans hated us. I was having a match against, I want to say, Shane or Brandon. It was Brandon Midas. And this old guy was drunk and tried to it was halfway in the ring trying to swing on us. Like, I had to duck back from when I come out to the ring. He's trying to punch us and shit. But towards the end of the match, I'm going for a pin, and I look over, and this dude's rolling into the ring, and I'm about to, stick him real quick, but the security guards drug him out of the ring. But that was probably the most heat I got because they were actually trying to come across the barricade and fight us. Heat in the locker room, I'm sure other people would say differently because somebody's got heat with somebody, but I haven't had much locker room drama. I kind of stay away from politics.
Right. Keep
your mouth shut and your ears open. That's how I try to conduct myself in the locker room. I can't really think of much like shoot heat that I have with a specific person, really.
Let's talk backyard wrestling versus pro wrestling.
A lot of the backyard, the ones that got in the ring and wrestled past the age of 15, a lot of those guys do it, I think, because there's no politics. They don't have to pay dues or prove themselves. Or it's probably one hand not any work involved, the other hand not wanting to deal with the negative sides of pro wrestling. Some of them were talented enough to start. Not necessarily, it's such a 1 in a million chance to make it. I can't say that about anybody, but most of it was just stuff as a kid. We did it a lot through high school because we didn't know much better. Once we got into pro, there's a respect and a conduct you have to have. In backyard, we never shook each other's hands. We just say, hey, what's up? Go to a pro show acting like that, you're rubbing people the wrong way. I wish, I call it an epidemic. I wish I came into wrestling differently, and I wish the backyard epidemic didn't happen the way it did, because it was all over the news. It was all over the internet. It was all over commercials. So we were kind of conditioned to think as a kid, oh, okay, that's something I can do. That's a way to enjoy wrestling versus going and paying a ticket and watching it, or going and getting trained. I really can tell why vets say don't do it. You get hurt in a lot of ways. A lot of the backyard dudes don't know how to safely bump people. I can tell a lot of the UWA guys never went to a school or tried anywhere but their little backyard circle. It seems like a lot of those guys were friends that started an indie show because they were too old to do it in their yard anymore. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's always money involved in pro wrestling.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Do you think it hurts the business at all?
Not like it did.
Okay.
Because it used to, seriously, in Lebanon, Kentucky, there was at least 4 different backyard promotions in that one town of about 30,000 people. I don't think it's such a thing now that it hurts the business,
right?
Because it's not popularized anymore.
Yeah.
You hear about it here and there, but I don't hear much stuff about backyard wrestling anymore.
Let's talk Kentucky wrestling versus Indiana wrestling.
Well, the crowds are bigger in Indiana for the most part. There's been some really good feds in Kentucky. SW was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
PWF, BBW back in the day was awesome, but that was before and after the regulations and the authority.
Sorry.
I think the authority has a lot to do with why a lot of Kentucky wrestling isn't as successful as it should be, because you can't bring in certain names because they're not going to pay to get their license, or they're not going to quit smoking or doing whatever they do. You can't bleed in Kentucky, so you're not limited on what you can do in the ring, because you can have a million non-hardcore matches and them all be different. But if you want to bring a hardcore element into it, you have to pick things that aren't going to bust them open, and you have to do the WWE chair shot to the gut and then the back. Now, I see that a lot in Kentucky. You don't see a straight to the head chair shot much in wrestling anymore.
Yeah.
But a lot of the boys in Kentucky have a lot of respect for and like. I see people try harder in Indiana. Southern Indiana, I think there's way too many promotions. Not to knock a single one of them, but if they were all about 25 miles in other directions, I think each one would be more profitable. Mm-hmm. That's the only way I really look at it, as far as them being too many. I've got love for some of them. Some of them are shit shows, and that's all over the entire world, from what I hear.
Do you think Kentucky wrestling has too many rules?
Yes. I think it hurts them from bringing money. You'll never see Raw or SmackDown in Kentucky. Pay-per-views. I remember as a kid going to see Ground Zero. That was my first WWE show. Yeah. I ran all the way around to the back of the Gardens and watched Stone Cold get in the car with the Midian. HBK got in the car with them.
That's cool.
That was my first real getting to meet a superstar, so to speak. The last pay-per-view I remember in Kentucky was Backlash.
Yeah.
I got cussed out by Triple H at a press conference before that show.
That's cool. That's awesome.
It's on YouTube. Type in Triple H does better. Okay. You don't really see me. I'm off in the crowd, but I yelled. I was heckling him, and he started making fun of me. But yeah, I think it puts an element of politics into wrestling that doesn't need to be there. As far as the authority in Kentucky, a lot of times I've seen Tim at shows trying to hype the boys up and saying this needs to happen and that needs to happen, where the promoter and the booker need to say what's happening in their show. They need to run that themselves. I understand why they do it, but I don't think it needs to be there myself. I think it's hurting it more than it's helping it.
Me too. What about closest friends in the wrestling world?
Off top, Shane Mercer. We grew up in the same town. Corey Havoc used to wrestle. I've known him Not as long as I've known Shane, but we've been friends since middle school. He's a cameraman at IWA now. Used to do some refereeing here and there. He goes to those shows with me all the time. Those are my two closest friends. A lot of them I'll sit down and talk to every time I see them. They're real cool dudes, but I can't say like, this dude's my close friend, because we don't really hang outside much outside of the business. I have respect for just about everybody I'm in locker rooms with, though.
Heel or face? Which one do you like to be?
Naturally, I feel like a heel.
Heel.
I feel out of place being a face and trying to get people to like me. I like saying fucked up shit to people. I feel naturally it's easier to be a heel for me and my personality. I have a lot more fun doing it. And I think I like the payoff of putting the baby over at the end of a story and giving them that moment.
Do you think the wrestling business still has room for hardcore wrestling?
Absolutely, yes. Last year was I'm not just going to toot the IWA horn, because they had a really, really good King of the Death match and a lot of really good death matches and death match shows. But all around, all over the United States, death matches were all over the place. And that's just death matches. That's a whole different level. To me, hardcore and death match aren't the same.
No.
I wouldn't personally say it's good to have a hardcore fed. You don't see IWA doing nothing but hardcore matches. Not everything leads up to a hardcore match at IWA. If it did, I think that would hurt it. Or any fed. You don't want every blow off to be a false count anywhere match. It's really how the booker books it, and if they're smart enough to know when and where to do what. I can't say I know all that, but I think it has its place for sure.
What's your favorite pro wrestling moment as a fan?
As a fan, not for a happy reason, but when Owen Hart died, I think that was probably one of the most significant moments coming up as a fan. I'd say the biggest moment to help pro wrestling is Hogan and Andre. When they did WrestleMania 3, that really brought wrestling into such a big limelight and made it the mainstream thing that it is now. The Montreal Screwjob was a huge moment. I was watching as a fan for that. Indy, there's so many things I couldn't even begin to where to talk. Wrestling has so many different elements of life into it. I think just about anyone can find a story they'd like to hear.
WWE, it's a place everybody wants to be one day. What's your thoughts on WWE today?
I think a lot of it, people don't understand that they're a publicly traded company, and it's a lot of times when you hear people on the internet, they're saying Stephanie and Triple H is doing this. No, it's probably their shareholders and a few $1 million calling these shots. They do what they do for a reason. They have people that study what fans' reactions are to things. That's why you don't see god-awful amounts of hardcore anymore. Back in the day, that's what people wanted. That's what they did.
No doubt. Yeah.
As a fan, I wish things would be different. Like, I wish Bray Wyatt would be more dominant. You don't ever see him doing dominant, evil things to make him a threat. He just calls someone out, and they blindly say, "Oh, okay, I'm going to walk into your traps and then beat you in a month." I loved Rusev until they watered him down. I think the League of Nations thing is kind of cool. I think Rusev is a workhorse, though. The Divas division, the matches are really good. You can see that they're trying to showcase better wrestling with them and less dramatic storylines. They save the drama stuff for Total Divas more. But all in all, I really like what they're doing with the product now. They have a lot of indie guys that we love in there doing their thing. They have the legends still. It's a new time, though. I think a lot of people are conditioned to what they grew up loving. I've heard a lot of guys older than me say this era is my favorite. It's better than the crap that's going on now. post ruthless aggression stuff.
Yeah.
I hated a lot of the things TNA did. My fond memories are what I grew up watching as a kid. I'm sure just about everyone can relate to that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it bad. It's just different and appealing to a new set of kids with new memories for them to be fond with growing up.
Yeah, people that weren't around for like the Monday Night Wars, they really don't understand the significance of it. You know what I mean?
For sure. A lot of younger fans will talk about it like a nostalgic thing, like it's kind of weird how some people talk about the Monday Night Wars. I remember doing it as a kid, going through it as a kid and flipping back and forth between Nitro and Raw. That was every Monday night. My homework didn't get done.
What legends would you like to work with that you haven't?
I've been getting told since, some people might not say this guy's a legend, but ever since I started Body by Blackheart, everyone wants me to face Simon Dean. Okay. I think that would be awesome because of our gimmicks and everything. I almost faced him. I was booked to face him at IWA at the anniversary show, and then my shoot job would not let me off work. A bunch of people called in for family reasons. They had a death in the family, and I was the only person to take up that spot, and I couldn't get out of it. But that doesn't say it won't happen down the road. I hear he lives just right over in New Albany. I would love to face Sabu. I think that would be a lot of fun. I used to love Rhino as a kid because it was when he was goring the shit out of people randomly, and I was in football at the time in high school, and I just thought that was hilarious because I was a defensive lineman, and my job was to tackle the shit out of whoever had the ball. I just loved it, the gore moments. Then there's the who's who list, like who wouldn't want to face Jake the Snake one time, who wouldn't want to get in there with Tracy Smothers one time. I'd love to face Tracy. I think we'd have a ball. I'd like to face Pondo more. I faced him a couple times. Chris Hero would be fun. I think I would learn a lot from him. I don't know if I'd be ready for it or not because it's like he's on a different level, and his psychology is really, really bar none. I think I would have to really listen a lot in that match.
What do you think has hurt the business the most, and what's your thoughts on the future of the business?
Hurting the business the most.
Stuff like this?
Maybe an oversaturation of the product. I think it's too easy for certain people to get in the business. Yeah. A lot of guys can go to Joe Schmo down the road and say, I want to be a wrestler, and get put in a 6-man tag that night. That hurts the indie business. I can't say what hurts the WWE so much because I'm not behind those things. There's so much goes on there. It's hard to say what really affects what. I think there's too many feds around here, so a wrestling fan has to choose between Fed X, Y, and Z and either divide themselves amongst all or not go to certain ones. And I know a lot of fans that go to as many as they can.
Yeah. If you was to quit right now wrestling, how would you want to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered with someone that has respect and love for what I'm doing. I don't want to. I try to show as much respect to the guys that deserve it as I can, and the ones that came before me. I want to go out being known as just someone that loved what I was doing.
All right, man. I appreciate you doing this interview with me, man. Let the people know how they can get hold of you, where you're going to be wrestling, etc.
You can catch me all over Facebook. My name is Aidan Blackhart on Facebook. I'll give you some great workout tips. I have a YouTube channel. Just Google me. You can hit me up. Hopefully we'll be wrestling for IWA when it gets back up on its feet. And I'll be posting left and right where I'll be in the next upcoming weeks all online.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.